Executive Overview Project. Hail Mary by Andy Weir is a hard science fiction novel centered on Dr. Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher and former molecular biologist who wakes up from an induced coma aboard an interstellar starship with total amnesia. As his memory slowly returns, Grace discovers that he is humanity's last hope. Earth is facing a solar extinction event caused by an alien microscopic organism called astrophage, which is consuming the sun's energy. Traveling light years away to the Tau Ceti star system, Grace must investigate why Tau Ceti alone remains immune to astrophage. Along the way, he makes first contact with an engineer from another alien species facing the exact same existential crisis. Core plot, Breakdown 1. The threat, the Petrova line and astrophage discovery. Scientists discover a glowing line of infrared light running between the Sun and Venus, the Petrova line. Ryland Grace is recruited by Eva Stratt, a UN official granted absolute authority by world leaders to tackle the crisis. The organism. Grace analyzes samples brought back by probes and identifies the culprit, astrophage, a single-celled organism that breeds by absorbing stellar radiation and traveling between celestial bodies. The extinction event. Astrophage reproduces exponentially, dimming the sun's output. Climatologists calculate that within 19 years, Earth will enter a devastating global ice age, causing agricultural collapse and human extinction. The solution. Astrophage stores massive amounts of energy via mass energy equivalence, E equals mIc squared. Stratt commandeers global resources to harvest astrophage as an ultra-dense rocket fuel to power an interstellar vessel, the Hail Mary. 2. The mission, Tau Ceti. The objective. Astronomical surveys show that while every nearby star is infected by astrophage, Tau Ceti remains unaffected. A 3-person suicide mission is planned to travel to Tau Ceti, find out why it is immune, and send the data back to Earth via 4 uncrewed return probes called Beetles. The crew selection. Grace trains the primary crew, but a catastrophic fuel explosion right before launch kills the primary science specialists. Grace refuses to go on the suicide mission, leading Stratt to forcibly sedate him, load him onto the ship, and administer amnesia-inducing coma drugs so he won't remember being forced. Awakening alone, Grace wakes up in the Tau Ceti system with amnesia, only to discover that his 2 crewmates died during the coma. He must execute the entire science mission single-handedly. 3. First contact, Rocky and the Iridians. An unexpected guest. Shortly after arriving in the Tau Ceti system, Grace detects another starship. He docks with the vessel and encounters an alien engineer he names Rocky. Biology and communication. Rocky is a 5-legged stone and metal creature from 40 Eridani, whose species, Iridians, uses active echolocation instead of vision, and speaks in pitch-based musical chords. Grace writes software to translate Rocky's speech into text. Shared goal. Rocky is the sole survivor of his own crew. His homeworld, Arid, is also dying from astrophage infection. The two form a deep bond, pooling human creativity and Iridian engineering prowess to find a solution. Doshras Riar 4. The Discovery, Tamoeba. Searching the atmosphere, Grace and Rocky study Adrian, a planet in the Tau Ceti system. They discover that Adrian's upper atmosphere contains astrophage, yet its population remains controlled by a natural microscopic predator. Isolating the microbe. Grace collects samples from Adrian's atmosphere and isolates the predator, which he names Tamoeba. The breeding breakthrough. While testing Tamoeba, Grace discovers it cannot survive exposure to xenon gas. This presents a major obstacle. Arid's atmosphere is rich in xenon, meaning Tamoeba would die immediately on Rocky's home planet. Through intensive selective breeding over multiple generations, Grace successfully breeds a xenon-resistant strain, Tamoeba 82.5. 5. Climax and sacrifice. Parting ways. Grace packages the Tamoeba and full instructions into the 4 Beetle probes and launches them toward Earth. He and Rocky say emotional goodbye and set course for their respective homeworlds. The flaw. On his voyage back to Earth, Grace discovers a critical error. In breeding Tamuba to tolerate xenon, he inadvertently made them capable of eating through xenonite, the super-strong alien material used to build Rocky's fuel tanks and ship hull. The dilemma. Grace realizes Tamuba will breach Rocky's fuel tanks, leaving Rocky stranded in deep space without fuel or food. Grace must choose between returning to Earth as a hero or turning his ship around to save his friend, knowing he will run out of human food in the process. The rescue.